The Miami Heat defeated the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 5, sending them to the Eastern Conference Finals, winning the series 4-1. The Bucks were without Giannis, but the series was likely over either way, and the Milwaukee Bucks had a dominant defense throughout the regular season, and their defensive system led them to be a favorite to get and compete for an NBA championship. In this film room breakdown, we're going to look at why the Miami Heat's offensive system was designed to beat the Bucks. My name is Coach Gibson Pyper. You can follow me on Twitter at HalfCourtHoops. If you enjoy this breakdown, I have a Coach's Cut breakdown for this series in which I go into more detail about why the Heat's offense worked, and I'm using this as a Patreon alternative for support, but more importantly, extended film room breakdowns that I can't show here on YouTube. Now, in order to fully understand why the Heat's offense works against the Bucks, we need to know how the Bucks defense system operates. The Bucks defense is designed to take away any opportunities of scoring at the rim and allow teams to shoot contested mid-range and three-point shots. Their cleaning the glass shot profile shows they only allow 21.5% of shots at the rim, 34.6% of shots from mid-range, and 43.9% from three. So their priority is to protect the rim and allow mid-range and allow more threes. With their drop ball screen coverage being heavily discussed on this channel, I have linked videos in the description if you want to check out those for more detail. Essentially, the Bucks keep their bigs defending in the paint and have their guards chasing players over the tops of screens and forcing them to take contested mid-range shots. In this series against the Miami Heat, we see a similar shot profile with the Heat taking 23.3% of their shots at the rim, 31.4% from mid-range, and 45.3% from three. The biggest difference for the Heat, they are one of the best three-point shooting teams in the league, shooting 38.6% from three in the regular season and 38.5% in the playoffs, tied for first and third in the NBA. In the series against the Bucks, they hit 37.9% of their threes, just below their season average, but the way their offense runs is what really made it hard for the Bucks to defend. When most teams' plays are stopped, it will normally flow into one of three things: a ball screen, isolation, or a post-up. In the playoffs, more than likely it'll flow into a ball screen to try and pick on the other team's weakest defenders, and then if a switch occurs, ends with an isolation trying to attack. This is where the Heat's offense becomes extremely hard to guard, as they essentially never stop cutting, passing, or screening until the shot clock expires. They don't set up and let you defend a ball screen. The Miami Heat will use their bigs, basically Bam Adebayo, as their main hub for their offense and allow the four guards around him to make reads based on how the defense is defending them. Bam has the option to grab a rebound and bring the ball up, something that I've termed BAM, something that Draymond Green did great in Golden State, or they can initiate the offense by hitting him in the middle of the floor, also known as delay series, and going into a 5-out look. They can hit him at the elbows with either a play call or a flash cut, depending on what the situation calls for. Or get him involved in what I like to call dead action, where Bam is essentially in the mid-post on one side of the floor and trigger the cutting action from there. Once Bam has the ball, the Heat can also use Olynyk, Iguodala, and Crowder in these spots as well. The Heat guards will go into split cuts or screen away reads that open up cutting lanes and flow into dribble handoffs. Now the reads here are pretty simple. If you're being denied, you look for a back door. If they're switching, you look for slips. If they stay attached, you set the screen and maybe look to come off a dribble handoff or curl and make basic reads off of this. This is essentially what the Warriors made a living off of during the Steph and Clay years when they dominated the NBA. The Bucks defend handoffs similar to ball screens, so they basically drop their big into the paint and guards try and chase off those handoffs, especially against a player like Duncan Robinson. Staying attached is extremely important. It typically would sag off Bam when he has the ball. Now, I touched on this in the Giannis defensive breakdown when I previewed the Heat's defensive game plan against Giannis and what it should be, as well as this tweet where I kind of talk about Rondo. But sagging off allows the defense to clog the lane, and it allows open shots, which you may want a bad shooter to shoot. But the problem is it also allows clear vision for a great passer and playmaker like Bam in this scenario. If the initial handoff or cutter has no advantage, the Miami Heat will look to throw it back to Bam, and then look for a handoff, a hand back, or cut and screen again. So they'll look to basically give it to Bam, set up your defender, and go right back for a quick handoff, allow the defense to kind of reset or rest, and then catch them off guard. The Heat will continuously run this action over and over and over again until they get an open shot. Now, because the Bucks clog the paint and tend to overhelp, denying shots at the rim, these cutting actions typically opened up the driving kick lanes versus cuts to the baskets. These cuts to the basket would open up that lane for extra passes, for ball movement that allow the best shooting team to get these wide open looks from three. Now, in the regular season, the Bucks were the best ball screen defense, as well as the highest percentage of ball screens run against them at 37% of the time. Now, the Heat ran ball screens 33% of the time in the regular season, as well as the postseason. So the key for the Heat was running an efficient ball screen system against the best ball screen defense in the NBA. The Heat needed to find ways to counter the drop coverage, and the first thing that I was impressed with and noticed was Bam Adebayo's angle of his ball screens. When the Bucks defenders would trail the ball screen and try and stay attached, the angle of Adebayo's ball screen would force them to slow down, since he would screen their hips and his angle was angled towards half court and the sideline, so this did not allow them to stay attached. What this did for the guards for the Miami Heat, like Dragic, Hero, and Butler, was to get cleaner looks from mid-range, getting downhill without worrying about the Bucks guard contesting their shots, something that they're very good at, especially guards like Bledsoe and Middleton with the rear contest using some of their length. Another adjustment was that Adebayo would not even have any contact on his ball screens and sprint directly to the rim. So he would essentially kind of jab step or take one step towards the ball screen and then dive as hard as he could to the rim, similar to a slip. This put immediate pressure not only on his defender, in most scenarios it would be Lopez, but any help defenders, and it was an awesome move by Bam and the Heat. Along the lines of the no contact screens, a set that was designed to give the Bucks ball screen coverage trouble was this double ball screen set, but with Bam setting the second screen around the nail. Now let's compare this to the Celtics double ball screen, where they set screens higher for Kemba. Bam setting the screen to nail and then sprinting to the rim allows the guard to get downhill easily and read where the help is coming from, as well as finishing with less congestion around them in the lane. Now, they went to this set in Game 5 down the stretch, scoring 3 straight times off of it, helping them end the series. Another way the Heat were able to punish the drop coverage was using Crowder and Olynyk setting the ball screen. The pick and pop was wide open all series long, with the Bucks refusing to change their defensive scheme and adjust. Now, the Heat have made it look easy on offense leading into the conference finals. Whoever their opponent is, they will continue to give them problems, and I look forward to breaking down their offense going forward. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe. I look forward to doing more.